Hey guys, Justin with 1791. Thanks for watching. The purpose of today's video is to do a quick instructional how-to on how to mold our ultra custom holster system. Guns and Ammo 2020 Holster of the Year. Let's get started. So right out the gate, this is what it looks like in the packaging. We're going to do a little unboxing thingamadoodler here. Go ahead and pop it open. And that's what it looks like on the inside. The holster is on a nice little hanger there to keep it from shifting around in the package. Go ahead and pop that out. There's these little dog ears right here. You'll undo those. You can lift it up and pop the holster off. We're going to set that little tray aside. Inside the packaging, you can see all the tools and whatnot. You have a little safety warning thingy there. So go ahead and take the instructions out. The instructions are in this little rolled up thing. There's a nice heavy mill plastic bag that you can use for the molding process. I'm going to set that aside. And you have your instructions. Before we get into the instructions, we'll do a quick overview on what you're going to need. So you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver to mount your belt clip. You're going to need a something that weighs a little bit, like a river stone. You could use butter knives, you could use fishing weights, whatever is going to help the holster sink into the water. You're going to need a heat source and you're going to need some water. For today, I'm using a sous vide and a little tub here with some water in it. You can use a sous vide. Those are nice because they help get you to like that, perfect heat range right there between 145 and 175 degrees. Outside of that, you could use just a pot of hot water. So I've used a steel kettle on the cooktop. I've done that dozens of times at this point. So you can just put that on the heat source and get it heated up. Use a little turkey thermometer to get the heat range between 145 and 175 degrees. What we recommend is about 165 degrees. That's kind of like the nice little happy medium. We will say though, do not microwave this holster. It can damage some things in here. And there are metal screw posts in there for the belt clip. So yeah, do not put this in the microwave. So what makes this holster kind of unique is the fact that it is a leather holster with legitimate passive retention that is achieved through synthetic materials. That is a lot of big words to describe. There is legit, genuine American steer hide leather, and then inside that there is a thermal formable plastic similar to the properties of Kydex between the layers of leather. And what that does is allow you to heat this up and then mold the holster around your weapon, much like a football mouthguard. All right, so we'll get into it here. What you're going to do is you're going to put the river stone or butter knives or fishing weights, whatever it is, jam that in the holster, and then you're going to put the holster inside of the bag, like so. I always try and put it with the sight track facing down to make sure that the critical components of the holster are fully submerged in the water. Seal off the bag and try and get as much of the air out of there as possible. I'm going to do the little human vacuum sealer method here. You don't have to legit put this on a vacuum sealer, but you do want to get the air out. And I have the sous vide turned off right now, but I do have the water nice and hot. And I'm just going to turn that thing back on, and we're going to let that heat up for a few minutes. The instructions say about 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm going to go heat up my coffee, and we'll be back with you guys in a little bit here.
A few moments later.
All right, folks, I'm back. My coffee is warm, and by now our holster should be too. Let's go ahead and turn this thing off because it's annoyingly loud. All right, so I pre-staged some of our tools here. We got our sight channel tools. These have a channel cut into the bottom of it. What that does is it helps establish and protect the sight channel. There's a long one and a short one, obviously for longer sight radiuses and for little shorty pocket rockets. There's a spade bit on the end of it to help work the material into where you want to create your retention. I've got our 2 rubber bushings set out and our 2 machine head screws. That's for mounting our belt clip. And then I've got the 1.5" belt clip staged here as well. There's an 1.75" and an 1.5" belt clip in the packaging. I selected the 1.5" because I'm running our 1.5" Cobra gun belt 01. Nice 14-ounce steer hide leather gun belts, proper dedicated gun belt. These belt clips have a nice wraparound J-style hook to help make sure that it engages that belt and make sure that the holster stays put when you have to jerk your smoke wagon. These are tuckable as well for those that like to tuck their shirt in and around their holster. These are a tuckable style. So next ingredient we're going to need is our blaster. All right. For those internet ninjas worried about safety, I assure you that is a safe direction, so keep your pants on. Move coffee. All right, I'm going to take my holster out of its nice, soothing bath. My holster just got done at spa day. Set your bag aside, but don't throw it away. You might need to reuse that sucker. I'm going to take the stone out. First thing you want to check is make sure it's pliable. It is definitely pliable and ready to mold. That's the reason why I pre-staged my gear here, is because I have about 5 minutes of working time. All right, so I'm going to use this longer spade bit. I'm going to set it right there. I'm not going to do the whole sight track. I'm just going to actually pinch up here to create my sight channel. I'm just doing that to make sure I can get my holster or my handgun seated nice and firmly into the bottom of the holster. Good. Lay that right there. Now for retention points, I prefer to use the ejection port as my retention point. So I'm going to use my spade bit. I'm going to work that material into that ejection port. Good. Now, I do squeeze some material around the trigger guard just to kind of help with that handgun smoothly inserting into the holster and make sure that it lines up with my retention locking point every single time. So I'm going to just kind of squeeze in at the along the lines of the trigger guard. We're just going to establish those lines. All right. Good. For me, for now, I can pull that, and I'm just going to kind of pinch in around that sight channel to kind of spruce it up a little bit, kind of really establish that sight channel, nice little pyramid. If you guys are running a taller front sight, like a suppressor height sight or a co-witness sight height, you're going to probably definitely want to use that sight channel tool. And I'm going to continue to work that ejection port with my spade bit. Sometimes it's nice just to kind of lay it down flat so it doesn't really get away from you. Good. All right. So as you can see, the holster has very much picked up the shape of my gun. So all I really have to do from here is I'm just going to set that aside and let it cool down for the remainder of the 5 minutes. And during which time we'll talk about some of our other holsters in the Ultra Custom line. So we have an outside the waistband pancake holster with Ultra Custom technology. And then we also have an outside the waistband light bearing and optic compatible version as well. All of the Ultra Custom holsters are naturally optic compatible. We did cut them to be optic compatible for most OEM optics solutions. But what's really special about our light bearing Ultra Custom is it's also compatible with several light manufacturers out there in the market. You'll just need to make sure that you select the right holster in the proper weight class for the combination of gun and light that you have selected. Obviously, you can't buy the full-size Ultra Custom light bearing optic ready and expect to be able to mold that around like a little pocket rocket, like a Ruger LCP or something like that. So just make sure you pick the right weight class holster for the weight class of your gun. All right, so this is starting to cool down. It's not quite cool enough to the touch to where I'm gonna mess with it too much. I really want that to harden up. One thing that's really nice about this is that these are remoldable. So the reason why I say that is I've had people mention like, well, what if I leave it in a hot car? You're not really going to have to worry about that, because let's say you do that with like a Kydex holster. Since the natural form for Kydex is flat, if it gets super hot in like a hot car or something like that, it's just going to pop flat. So really, first of all, just don't leave your gun in the car. Your car makes a terrible $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 holster. A holster is a holster is a holster. It's meant to carry the gun on your person. But if you do leave your holster in a warm location and it starts to warm up, you can actually remold this. You can remold this an infinite amount of times, so long as you don't burn it and damage it, all that kind of thing. So let's say you mold this and you weren't quite happy with the retention, you can just repeat the process. That's why I said just leave the bag aside. All right, So right there, I'm feeling we do have some pretty decent retention already. As it cools down and hardens, it'll really kind of take that shape and make sure that we have that good retention that we're looking for. Yep. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mount the hardware. I'm going to try not to mess with it too much while I mount that. There are 2 screw holes that are female threaded that will accept your screws. So we're going to go ahead and lay a bushing over top of the screw hole and lay that bushing over top of that screw hole. There's 2 holes in your belt clip. This belt clip is adjustable for angle a little bit. I like to carry vertically, so I'm going to set it up for that. Let's place it right over. Go ahead and get that started. That one's started. Don't torque it down all the way. Just get it started. Jam that sucker in there. Good. Both of those are started. Now from here, once it's started, you'll want to adjust the angle of the belt clip based on how you like to carry. If you like to carry vertical, you're going to want to have the belt clip set up vertical, obviously. If you like to carry at the 4 o'clock position, you're going to want to have to offset that belt clip a little bit so that it angles the holster while you're carrying it, just to kind of help with the ergonomics of drawing from the 4 o'clock position. So I'm going to adjust that back to the vertical position because that's where I like to carry it. I'm making this for me, not for you. Now, when you tighten these down, you put compression against those rubber bushings. What that's doing is it's helping keep the screws in the screw hole, a little bit of tension. If you really want to kind of nuke this situation, sorry, that's a Navy term. If you really want to kind of nuke this situation, just go ahead and maybe throw a spot of blue Loctite on there just to make sure that they're not going to back out. From my perspective, I Loctite and tape pretty much everything just to make sure, and zip ties. Loctite, tape, and zip ties are your best friend if you're walking the warrior's path and you're in the gun culture. So what I like to do, there's a bottom screw and a top screw. The bottom screw, I'll torque that down just a little bit just to make sure it's not going anywhere, and then that top screw, I'm going to torque that down even more to help pull the belt clip in towards the holster to prevent kind of printing and all that stuff. You'll kind of see how that works. Tighten that down a little bit more, and this one I'm going to just watch that thing sink in. There we go. Saw how it sunk in right, nice and tight. I'm actually going to do a little bit more just because I'm feeling spry this morning. There we go. All right, so that's nice and tight. We have our retention. All right, go ahead and mount it here. I'll have to take off my old holster first. Nice, and you hear that audible click of the belt clip wrapping around the belt. Let's go ahead and do a draw. Oh yeah, lots of retention. The other nice thing about that that ultra custom memory lock material inside the holster is it helps the holster stay open upon draw, so that when you have to go and reholster that sucker, you don't have to fiddle with it. It's just kind of there. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, there we go. All right, so that's it. My holster's set up. Again, most of the things you're going to need are in the package. Outside of that, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, an unloaded blaster, something to weigh the holster down when you're when you're getting it warmed up. You're going to need some water and a heat source. All right. A couple of words of caution. Don't really feel like I have to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because it's the internet. Don't put your gun inside the hot water. Just the holster and then something to weigh it down goes in the bag. You're going to put that in the hot water. No gun goes swimmy, okay? That's it. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at customer service. Stay savage, guys. Thank you.